Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Synergy, where we work to explore the question, is there even such a thing as an original idea? Do we still have any? How long have we been without them? And if this month's episode is anything to go off of, it's been longer than we think.
Yes, it has been. It's been longer, and it's distinctly and deliciously out of season, too.
Yeah. I'm Cody, aka the Scarlet Troll.
And I am Greg, aka Greg.
And Merry Christmas, you filthy animals, if you're into that sort of thing. But... You know, this is really the perfect time to drop this episode, because you can't spell Synergy without Christmas. You can. You 100% can.
I was gonna say no.
It's close, though. We're only missing a couple letters.
I mean, I feel like it's more than a couple.
No, it's only a couple letters. We have most letters in common with Christmas. That's not the important part.
We call these cost-saving measures.
Anyways, it's the most exsanguinous time of the year, and I have a funny story about this episode, because originally, my plan was, I was going to do a bit, we were going to do a Kraven the Hunter tie-in, and we were going to review the original The Most Dangerous Game, or at least one of the originals, I don't know, one of the older ones.
Yes.
Then I realized, to get that episode up in time for Kraven's release, we would have had to watch it and record it Thanksgiving weekend, and no.
That was not happening.
Absolutely not.
No. Sorry, guys, I know this turkey's fantastic, but I need to watch The Most Dangerous Game, which is mildly ironic considering we're all sitting around here eating dead animals.
Why did you do that? So I could make a video talking about it in time for Kraven the Hunter?
You got some twisted priorities, man.
Yep. So we decided not to do that. I was going to do Sonic the Hedgehog, and then I remembered we had another option. Because there's that old rascal, Nosferatu.
Nosferatu, you silly, mind-controlling goose.
Yeah, the Robert Eggers movie should be out as of the day that this goes up, assuming I haven't put this out late or messed it up. We'll see how that goes. But I'm very excited, and that made me think, you know what? I've never actually seen the original 1922 Nosferatu.
For me, at best, I've only seen a couple bits and pieces of it, which does not count, especially for a silent film.
Right. I'll admit, I've never been the biggest fan of silent movies. I mean, I haven't seen a lot, but it's kind of funny. When I think silent films, this is kind of the general vibe that comes to mind, even though I'm decently sure they're not all like this. But this is what I usually think of. Big, over-the-top expressions, the orchestral sort of soundtrack that's classy and also kind of sad. Just the vibe. This is the vibe.
Yeah. I was going to agree with you on that front, especially with how... It's weird to say, but with how visually bombastic it can be. Because since it's a silent film, you don't hear people's voices. The actors have to act +1, if that makes sense.
Oh no, they're putting maximum overdrive! Here!
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm just gonna keep doing SpongeBob references this whole video, aren't I? I gotta stop that.
As a maximum overdrive or actimum overdrive?
Actimum overdrive, there we go. Put it on a shirt.
Oh, that would be a good shirt, actually.
Where was I going with this? Right, Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Now, it's a funny thing here, because what I was expecting when we watched this was... Because it turns out there's also 50 goddamn versions of this movie. I have no idea which one we've seen. But apparently, there's a bunch of them.
I want to say we did actually watch the good one. The main one that everyone talks about.
I don't know. We could have just watched the one that was in public domain. Because I think part of it's in public domain. Maybe the whole thing?
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe just elements.
Oh my god, actually, you know what? I just... because I have the page for the movie pulled up, and there is a thing saying, running time, 63 to 94 minutes, depending on the version and transfer speed. It's like, oh, okay. I did not see that coming.
Yeah, whatever we saw was a 94-minute version, so I have no idea which one it was, but the thing that really interests me is, going into this movie, I knew it was a sort of serial numbers filed off kind of Dracula adaptation. But my understanding was all the characters had been renamed, but in the version we saw, they kept all the Dracula names. You've still got Jonathan and Mina Harker, Dracula is still called Dracula instead of Count Orlok.
Yeah.
You still got Renfield, and you got Van Helsing in there. And that's really interesting to me, because that was not what I was expecting at all. And then I looked a little more into it, and I found out a funny story. So, there's some contention about why the names were originally changed. Part of the argument is that it was to avoid problems with Bram Stoker's estate, and that actually ended up not working out at all.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I'll get into that in a minute. But, apparently also it was just considered good sense to change the names because it was a German film, and it was not very big budget, so they really wanted a draw, and they figured changing the character names to be more German would help draw in the audience.
I mean, I understand that.
But what ended up happening is, I believe Stoker's estate ended up suing over the movie. And a court ruling actually ordered that all copies of the film should be destroyed.
Is that right?
Yeah, no, I mean, you could have just written it off for taxes, but whatever.
No, this was before the era of David Zaslav.
Yeah, I know. Actually, this is worse. That is technically worse. Well, you know what? It's about the same. I mean, you could have just said they owe the estate part of the money.
Right.
I mean, just artistic vandalism saying, yeah, destroy all of it. But obviously, they didn't get every copy.
Artistic vandalism sounds like the name of a 90s underground rap album.
I mean, artistic vandalism is just kind of the state of corporate movie making these days. Especially if you're Warner Brothers Discovery. Hey-o!
Hey-o!
No, but I'm looking forward to Superman. Anyways. I wonder if that's the reason why... I mean, this... Obviously, you know, it's an older movie to begin with, but it also feels like we're not watching an original print of it. Because it feels tilted, the lighting's a little weird, and I wonder if that's because this is a restored copy of this movie. Maybe all the legitimate ones are gone or something, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not watching the right version, because again, there's like 50 of them or something.
Yeah, which is in of itself wild.
A lot of it has to do with restoration details and soundtrack and what have you, but yeah. No, some interesting changes in this one. First of all, I'm just gonna keep calling him Orlok, even though he was Dracula in the version we saw. He is not human passing at all.
No, not in the slightest.
He's not quite Last Voyage of the Demeter, but he's definitely not Renfield, you know?
Yeah, he's a monster. He's an absolute monster. And honestly, the character design for Orlok, given the time period, is genuinely very good. The picture of Max Schreck as Orlok in the promotional picture that they took for the film is, as a photo, very good, but it's genuinely very off-putting. And I'd say that is props to the people who created the character design and created the costume and or the makeup or whatever they did in the 1920s for something like that.
Yeah. I also find it interesting, he seems a lot more rat-like than most vampires. Yeah. Which is interesting because they draw direct comparisons to his reign of terror basically being a plague upon the city of Bremen. So, interesting parallel there, to have him look more like a rodent and had that plague parallel. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the rodent parallel is especially noticeable with the long nails and all that with his hands.
What's not so cool is it has been pointed out in subsequent years that Orlok also has more than a few parallels to, stereotypical Jewish caricatures, which, for a 1922 German film, is both not surprising and also really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's one of those things where when you said that, I was just like, yeah, so, let's see, Germany, 1922, right after Germany lost World War I and is kind of going through the Great Depression and all. Yeah, that's pretty par for the course at that point, honestly.
Yeah.
If you need a big bad in a German film, make them Jewish.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
So, some other differences. Renfield, he's a horrible little goblin man in this. I feel a little attacked. I'm in this movie and I don't like it.
I mean, if you're the Renfield, then who is your Count Orlok?
Nicolas Cage?
I'll allow it.
Yeah. No, he's a weird little... He looks like he belongs in the village of Nilbog. Weird. So he ends up kind of sort of duping Jonathan Harker. This is another interesting bit. Renfield isn't the one who goes over to Transylvania in this one. It's actually Jonathan Harker who goes because Orlok is looking to secure a piece of real estate. I like how I'm calling everybody else by their Dracula names, but it's still
Orlok. Well, in fairness, I feel like no matter what, if you're talking about this original film, then you are referring to Orlok.
True. So Harker, he's kind of a ditz in this, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a buffoon.
Yeah.
I mean, he clearly loves his wife. He's head over heels for his wife, picking her flowers and stuff, and going, "Yeah, I shan't be gone long. I must away. I seek our fortune across the sea in the Carpathians." And he has a book about vampires for some reason. Where did you get that?
Oh, that's a good question, actually.
He just has a book of vampires, and I think it's from the inn. I don't think he had it naturally.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, it's like it had to have been during the time when he was traveling to the castle when he says, like, I'm going to Transylvania to do the real estate deal. Either way, all the villagers are like, no, you, that's a bad idea. Everyone's around telling him, like, no, you shouldn't do that, it's dangerous, it's a bad idea. It's like, well, how bad of an idea could it be? It's almost as bad of an idea of Drake trying to challenge Kendrick Lamar to a rap beef.
Ooh, got him! Careful, he'll sue.
God, that is such a bitch-ass lawsuit, but we're not here to talk about that today.
Not that it's gonna stop us.
Mm-hmm.
So, one thing I find really funny, there's a hyena?
Yeah, I was not expecting a hyena in this film.
No.
Or, honestly, there's very few films I expect a hyena to show up, but I was not expecting it in this film.
Yeah, it's my understanding they're not really native to Central Europe.
Yeah,
So,
no.
One unusual thing. I imagine in the 1920s that was easier to get away with because the odds that anybody in the audience knows what the fuck a hyena is less. They're probably just looking at it going, oh, what the fuck?
I mean, especially helpful considering that the movie itself takes place in the early 1800s too, so they're probably like, we'll let it pass, we'll let it slide.
That's a weird goddamn dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Transylvanian, one might say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm proud of that one. You can't take that from me.
Very good.
It's not really a particularly frightening movie, I'll say that.
No. I mean, granted, I think part of the reason why it's not frightening is also the standards of which horror movies are now. Obviously, this movie has some uncomfortable moments, and even thinking about it is going to probably be a little bit of a type of thing, but visually, it is not a scary movie, just because with how modern scary movies are in terms of their aesthetic, lighting, character design, makeup, and all that. It's a very large departure from this movie made over 100 years ago.
Yeah, and you do get some creepy moments. A lot of the ones where Orlok is actively on screen, he is not pretty to look at.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I'd say the creepier moments are definitely moments like that, like the still moments where he's on screen not doing anything, just kind of staring into the abyss, or just being mostly motionless. Those are moments where, like, yeah, if you just leave that in a capsule with no music or anything like that, that's unsettling.
Yeah, but then you get stuff like him using his vampire powers, like levitating his own coffin onto a cart, and I don't mean to poke fun, but it's a real, they're trying, God bless them vibe.
Yeah, that was unfortunately one of those moments where it's like, alright, that's understandable considering the technology of the time. Special effects, as we know them, did not exist at that point. But it was still like the most Looney Tunes shit ever.
So, Orlok ends up wanting to move in basically across from the Harkers.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan starts to come to the conclusion that, oh, shit, I think this guy's a vampire, even though I've been tossing this book around because I ain't no book-reading bitch, or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you know what I think is a vampire? Everyone was like, oh shit, no G-mate, you fucking think.
I don't think this guy's entirely on the level. I think he might be a vampire.
Yeah.
No lie. No cap. No fooling.
Yeah, no cap. Man, imagine if they said no cap in 1922.
Oh, God.
Jesus.
I'll also say it's interesting. This movie takes a while to get going.
It does wheel spin quite a bit.
There is a lot of time spent on the trip to Transylvania and hanging around Orlok's castle in Transylvania and occasional little bits of Mina having nightmares and sleepwalking or whatever.
Right.
So it takes a bit for the actual, oh, hey, there's a vampire in, wherever this is set. No, wait a minute. Is he in Germany when this starts?
Is Orlok in Germany?
No, the Harkers. Are they in Germany when this starts?
I don't think so.
Huh.
I want to say, generally speaking, it's explained that the Harkers are, in the fictional German town. Oh no, he is in Germany.
Yeah,
He
that's
is
what
in
Wikipedia
Germany.
says, but I don't know if that is true for our version, because also Wikipedia keeps calling them the Hutters, but in our version it was the Harkers, so...
Fair. Well, I don't know. I want to say in the original stories and whatnot, the Harkers are usually from Britain.
Yeah.
They go from Britain to Transylvania.
Where's Bremen? I'm looking this up.
Pretty sure that's a fictional town.
City in Germany, so, okay.
Oh, never mind then.
Nope,
All
they
right.
were in Germany. Alright, okay, that's that mystery solved. I gotta brush up on my geography.
Same.
No, it takes a decent amount of time for Orlok to get his way over out of Transylvania, and when he does, you don't really see him do an awful lot, but...
Yeah.
You got a lot of people falling sick, they think it's a new plague, everybody stay home, nobody go to hospitals, isn't that ironic?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we got to that part, it's like, okay, this is hitting a little too close to home. I also started kind of playing out my actual nightmare scenario. If you've got dead people, do not bring them to the hospital. You gotta hold on to them. Fuck that. Fuck that noise.
They are getting burned.
Yeah.
Or they're ending up in the backyard.
Yeah, I mean, either of those, but especially being piled up in the backyard is, like, genuine nightmare scenario for me, personally.
On the upside, if that ever did happen, it would no longer be suspicious to Google how to get rid of a dead body.
FBI's like, hey, we're having a lot of searches for us. Yeah, there's a plague out. It's cool, guys. You can chill. Wait, you said it's a plague and we can chill. Did I fucking stutter?
And you may be wondering, why is that good news? To which I say, none of your fucking business, alright?
Right.
What I do outside of this show doesn't matter to anybody. I'm not secretly a vampire. Whatever gave you that idea?
I mean, if you were secretly a vampire, I would be both entertained and scared by what you would do with those powers.
Nothing.
That's the least convincing nothing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
My niece can give a better nothing than that. She's 5.
Yeah, well, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I don't really know how this movie did when it came out in theaters, or how much money it made. What I do know is, it bankrupted the studio that produced it.
That doesn't really happen a lot in movie making, does it?
No, it happens more often than you think. I mean, the visual effects house that redid Sonic's design so he wasn't ugly in the movies anymore, they went out of business after the movie was done.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not exclusively because of Sonic, but...
But that probably helped a good bit.
Helped. No, this was Piranha Films' only production, and it's really funny because their intent was to make occult and supernatural themed films. So in a lot of ways, this kind of foreshadows what happened with the Dark Universe, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're gonna make a whole bunch of horror-themed movies. Oh, are you now? Bless your heart!
Yeah, it's the thing of they accomplished their goal, but at a great cost.
You got what you wanted, but you lost what you had, or something of the such.
Yeah, I accomplished my mission. What did it cost you? Everything.
No, it's amazing how, for something that is a Dracula knockoff, and I mean that in the most affectionate way possible, I feel like this has emerged as an entity unto itself in vampire lore and literature and popular culture. Obviously, Dracula's still the gold standard, but the fact that Nosferatu kind of maintains its own separate identity when it borrows so much from Dracula is pretty nuts.
Do you think that, obviously, the idea of the vampire very much predates this movie, but do you think like the idea of vampire movies and like their composition, how people go into them, this movie was a starting point for it?
Almost definitely. I mean, there probably wasn't an awful lot of time to have a vampire movie ahead of this one, and this does predate the Universal Dracula movies, although again, their approaches to the vampires are radically different, because Bela Lugosi's Dracula is much more, weird, almost robot man inside of a skin suit who passes for human but doesn't act like it, whereas Orlok is... I don't understand how he gets away with any of this disguise.
Yeah! Oh, what a strange fellow, but I can't make him out. It's the whole thing of, oh, Orlok, I didn't see you there. Who the fuck doesn't see this guy?
Oh, hi, Johnny.
Yeah.
I feel like that's mostly it already.
Yeah, that's mostly it. Part of the challenge is that because it's a silent movie, there's not the usual addresses to senses that we normally get in movies. It's like, because it's a silent film, you're working off of the words on the screen, the music, which the music is great,
Yeah.
and the very, very over-the-top acting from the actors in this movie.
And it's kind of hard to praise the music too heavily, because again, we don't know what version we got.
Yeah, for all we know, this could have been completely different music altogether from what the original, like, 1922 movie had, if it had music to begin with.
Oh, it definitely is. My understanding is that music was lost and had to be basically reconstructed.
Oh, that genuinely makes me very sad.
Yeah, apparently the original score was performed by an orchestra at the premiere.
Oh, dude. Imagine if it's one of those things, because audio recording technology was still very young at that point, but imagine just, meandering through somewhere and you come across the original sound recordings of the soundtrack for this, or like the orchestra. That would be the thing inside of the golden suitcase in Pulp Fiction.
Are we happy? Oh, we're happy.
Oh, we happy, alright.
Love it.
Hmm.
No, this has got me proper hype. I was already super excited for Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, which again, should be releasing the day this comes out, assuming I didn't muck it up. But,
right.
God, seeing this has actually got me more hyped for it, because now it's like, okay, now I have the context as to how this plays out differently from Dracula. So, watching this remade with slightly more modern sensibilities, and definitely more modern filmmaking techniques, like the ability to make that giant hand shadow over the town. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm really curious about that scene in particular, like, what exactly is going on there.
I'm pretty sure it's just a visual metaphor for Orlok's grip over the town increasing the longer he's allowed to roam free. But, that's just an opinion.
Right.
A movie opinion. Well, in any case... I really gotta start putting the like, comment, subscribe plug much earlier into these. I keep forgetting about that because I keep trying to do witty stuff at the start.
Yeah, but granted, it's understandable since we only do these once a month to begin with.
Yeah, so I don't have a script like I do for Under the Bridge. I mean, Under the Bridge is mostly not scripted, but I do have the intro part mostly scripted, like the tagline. So,
yeah.
I haven't quite gotten there yet. Case in point, I still haven't even settled on what the actual intro line is because I keep mixing it up based on what I think is gonna work. That's not important. That's a little just how the sausage is made kind of thing. But
in any case...
if you're still listening to this ramble, thanks so much. Maybe like, comment, subscribe, share the video around because it helps us out and we appreciate it.
Indeed.
And we'll be back next month with, I don't know, we got a couple of different options. And I'm really pulling for one, and I feel like Greg really doesn't want to do the one that I'm pulling for. So...
oh, no.
We'll see who wins out.
Right.
Worst case scenario, you might have to watch us talk about Captain Underpants, but that's not even a bad worst case scenario. I rather like that movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, I also haven't figured out an outro for this series yet. Bye!
Bye, everybody.